Hi, today is September the 17th, 2020, and I'm getting to the David Bowie Mediumistic-tarot reading that was requested. Sorry, I still have a little allergy thing going on, though the air quality, I'm glad to say, is much better. Now, back to Mr. Bowie. Look at this tarot. Look at this. This is an amazing boxed set. Okay, I've been waiting to use this for this reading. This is really, truly a work of art. Just even the boxing. Now, wait till you see how this comes off. Okay, so there's this. I'm not sure that I like this so much, but I like the art. Okay, so that part comes off. You know, you have the little lightning strike, so to speak. Bolt. The only problem is it's kind of more pieces. Well, not really. Okay, so you have this little tab that you can pull the... It comes out like this. Put that... Sorry, different camera angle today. So that's the Starman Tarot. There's so many bits and pieces, but this is really beautiful. It is really a collector's thing. Here's the book. It's quite thick. This is by David Angelis. Let's see. Okay. The works. Art. Oop. So that's the booklet, which I will get to at another point, because I have to hop onto the reading, right? It's in shrink wrap. How thoughtful. Pause. I have to say, I hate shrink-wrapped cards. What is the point? You've already got it in a box, and it's just more plastic in the world. I wish they would not do that so often. Okay, so the Starman Tarot is by David Angelis, inspired by the artworks he created for David Bowie. Really cool. If you're a Bowie fan and you do tarot, you're going to want this deck. Oh my god, the Sacred Clown instead of the Fool. And then the Starman for the Magician. Let me show you the intricacy. And I hope that this... I've got a new camera here. That I own. The High Priestess. Beautiful. Very intense and lush. Let me show you her. Okay, yeah. Once again, we got to deal with that damn glare from my window. Autofocus, please. Really? This camera might be going back if it doesn't autofocus. The other one was better. Well, as you can kind of see, I wish this was autofocusing. I'm going to have to give this camera a downvote. I just picked it up pretty quickly. I still like my other camera better. But it's a very lush deck. Here's David Bowie as the Magician, as the Starman. That window is my nemesis. Come back, come back. Okay. The things we do. I have to come back with this, with my other camera to get the fine visual quality. You're supposed to do better, camera. You're supposed to autofocus this stuff. Oh, it's really beautiful. High Priestess. Oh, the Empress. Sorry. We already saw the High Priestess. The Empress is more pink and very feminine. You stinking glare. So there is a gloss, as you can quite see with the cards. They're long. They have that nice long shape, which is easier for small hands like mine to deal with. It's still, you know, thick deck, but with very glossy, very glossy finish, but beautiful artwork. I just wish they would have put it on linen paper, because I think the cards would last better, especially when you shuffle like I do. Okay, so as you know, because I told you, and because you might be a tarot reader yourself or novice, the cards that I've just gotten out of the deck are all in order. So this is going to take some shuffling. Why not? See, I did my roots, you guys. But I'm trying to keep kind of some blonde in there. Alright, you don't care about that. Anyways, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to start shuffling. Put it on pause for a second. I'm just breaking this down into quarters. Old petite hands here. But at least they're very flexible. It's going to kill my arthritis. Alright. Alright. So even before I can begin to reach out to David Bowie, I gotta like manage this deck. So let's go shuffle. I will change the camera angle to look at the cards once I'm going on. Or I might just hold it up and see. Okay, I'm just going to ask the Creator and my ancestors to contact David Bowie and put out the invitation respectfully, if his spirit would be willing to participate and share with me. And I ask the ancestors and the Creator to help me guide my reading to make sure it's accurate and as correct in conveying what Mr. Bowie wants to relate. See how I have to do side to side because my hands? Yes, these are real bags. I stay up late. And last night I was doing a lot of work. A lot of work. I did probably about 4 or 5 readings, which is a lot. But I had a lot of work to do on Forthood and on a private reading for a family with someone that's missing. Okay. So that's a lot of work. But let's get on to Bowie time. Now, Mr. Bowie has the same birthday as my youngest, January 9th. And as you may or may not know, he did pass very close to his birthday. Amazing artist. One of the most creative and ever-changing, created alternate personas, the Starman and what was it, the Spiders from Mars, and I mean, he left us with what a gift, what a gift. So I just want to reach out to him and ask him what he might like to convey. I'm not going to put words in his mouth. I'm just going to ask him through the cards, and I will just read the symbols for him. Mr. Bowie, is there anything you would like to share with us? We really appreciate your catalog of work and your efforts to keep us entertained and to share your creativity with us. And thank you for that. What we'd like to know is how you're doing on the other side, and if you are continuing, because like you would, creative works. What might you want to share with us that we don't know that we might find interesting? And I thank you for whatever you're willing to share. I'm not sure it keeps popping up. Okay. I have all these David Bowie songs, little clips of them going through my mind as I'm doing this. So many songs of his that I love. Just, he was so unique. I really wanted to make sure I shuffled this a lot. And I know that we're kind of, we're unboxing here again real quick, but always when you unbox, you have to spend a little more time shuffling the cards because, as I said, they're all in order. And otherwise you're reading, you're not going to grab the, you're not going to, it's not, the cards are not shuffled sufficiently. Okay, so I think they are now, and I will begin. He gives me the Seven of Wands. So there's a feeling of a defensive position here with that seven. I lament this camera. I lament it. I thought it had autofocus. I'm so cheesed. Might be sending it back. Anyway. That is interesting. That is a defensive position. This is feeling like you have a number of different energies coming at you, and you're just kind of trying to maintain. Very interesting. It's a very interesting deck. It's very rich. I mean, you could really, it's the kind of deck that you could just pull one a day and, like, go in deep dives. And the King of Wands. Well, we know that David, but I do want to look at his rising. And I know that some of you, his rising sign in astrology, I know that some of you probably know it. But his rising and his moon, was it a fire sign? Despite the fact that he was no sun. Because there is this sense of I think he kind of felt that he had to protect himself from all the attention and of the public and the media and a variety of sources. I feel like he really learned how to handle the stress of fame with grace and charisma. And there's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. That's what I'm picking up there. That the career of entertaining people And being a creative, especially with that King of Wands, it feels, and then we have Wands again with the 7. It really feels like a kind of a somebody that's in a defensive position, but is doing their own thing. They're not being stopped by people that don't understand, or what is this? And I feel like it's kind of that response to his creative works that he put out there. He dealt with a lot of, I think a lot of, definitely, he was so breakthrough. And he caught a lot of flack, you know, why are you dressed like a girl? Why you got makeup on? Ooh. You know, they didn't understand. He was, again, one of those artists that's really a maverick. He's a real breakthrough challenger to our sense of embracing a broader understanding. He really did help society to do that. And of course, you know, I'm sure that the older society that didn't care for his music, and I know that some in the older society at the time actually, you know, did like him and did appreciate his, but there are some that didn't. And I feel like this is what he's talking about, people not understanding what he was doing, having to deal with that. And I think it's encouragement that even if your work is different, and even if people don't first understand it, to continue and to be who you are, even if you're not understood. It's important to be who you are, and to bring your vision, I think, artistically out, even though it may challenge people. I feel like he's giving some advice here, and talking about his own experience. And yeah, you know, I wouldn't have really thought of that right off the get-go, but I do know that he would have, God, especially we need to think about the era of time, and how still very closed down society was to new ideas with art and expression. Oh my God, if that phone wants to start up, I'm going to toss it out the window. I have put, you know, it just never fails. Oh no, my nail paint's already chipping. Dang. Anyways, we also get the Ace of Wands. We're talking about this fire, a creative fire, and inspiration, new projects, new energy. It's highly creative. And I do think that he is working on the other side. I'm getting a flash that he's working not only on the other side, on stuff, but simultaneously also kind of coming into projects like this with other artists that are inspired by him, yet on earth, that are living. And I think he kind of guides them from the other side. I do feel like he has a very active, creative life in the afterlife, both with things going on earth and things that in his reality that he's yet creating. He's not done, not by a long shot. It's very, I think, kind of narrow-minded to think that our earthly journey is the only one, or that is the definition of life. There is life after earthly life, and it's just different. It's a different kind of existence, and you carry on. You don't just end. It's something that humanity really needs to catch-up understanding in a more of a societal way, but that'll be a little while. We're getting there. We're getting there. Now we get the Three of Swords. It's really reaching out again. He wants to encourage artists. In this, you can see someone that has, only if this would autofocus you could see it. They have like a spray can and some paint, and they're like a graffiti artist, but it looks like they're kind of out on the street, and kind of the poor, starving artist. I really feel like he's wanting to give advice. Even though this is the Three of Swords, there's again the inference of art. Still making beauty, despite, you know, and you can use your inner pain, your inner heartbreak, health issues, to influence your work. That there's a resource, because we've got all these wands, and then we've got these Three of Swords, which talk about mental anguish and pain, particularly usually through the mind, because it's a sword. But this Three of Swords also can denote poor health. It can. As well as being, you know, depending on the other cards, there can be cases of infidelity or being betrayed, heartbroken. It can also be a card of being homesick, but I digress. In this case, I feel like once again, Mr. Bowie is talking to artists that are not successful and struggling, I think, to get their work seen, or to feel validated. There's a big thing with that with art, you know, the feeling of, oh my God, I'm a phony, or, you know, we hear about that, and not feeling like you are authentic, but you are. And I think he's relating about the complexity of artists and the difficulty in being an artist, because you get so much criticism with that Seven of Swords that can just, Three of Swords, cause a great deal of heartbreak, pain, and damage to your self-esteem. I really feel like he's wanting to give advice to people that are creative and that might feel that their art isn't well received or understood or accepted. He's encouraging people to continue to develop that aspect and find new ways, despite hardships and a lack of recognition. You have to be true to yourself and your own expression, and not let the criticism and the lack of understanding and the reactions of society and critics to deter you from the truth of your vision, because it can really make you doubt yourself. And I think he did struggle with that himself, actually. You know, the David Bowie, you know, yeah, I think he did. He took a lot of flack because he really brought in more into understanding about, oh, what is that word? You know, kind of the unisex kind of gender fluid, I feel like, understanding of human beings, expression, with the fact that he was putting on makeup and he was embracing more of his creative feminine side, and at the same time, there was holding that flow of masculine energy, which really made him fascinating. We get the Hanged Man, and this talks about typically delay or hold, but there's something meaningful usually within that time of waiting for something to manifest or happen, because it's kind of like germination, or it's kind of almost like, it can be like the butterfly that's in the cocoon first before it emerges, the chrysalis. This is also about a time of reflection, of looking at your work, looking at your creativity. Again, I feel like he's wanting to give advice. And again, this is the Hanged Man. I'm sorry that you can't see so well with this camera. It's just not auto-focusing like the other one. Because when we look at the last two cards... Oh, wait a minute. What comes with that Hanged Man? Would be the Six of Pentacles. Let's see if the Six of Pentacles shows. Oh, that's cute. It shows a tiger-like being. Oh, how interesting. There's so many layers in these cards. But I feel like this is working with other people, with other collaboration, with other artists. And there was some kind of a delay with that Hanged Man. But I don't know what was going on. If he had, at the time of his death, or, I mean, he knew he was, you know, he just kind of kept it to himself because it's his business. But I feel like there's some kind of a collaboration that he wanted to do before the end of his life that he didn't get to. Or one that was delayed. There's something that was delayed. It has to do, again, I think, with helping other artists. This is also, the Six of Pentacles is also about help. And this whole thing, I feel like he's been wanting to reach out to artists. And artists that don't feel like they're being heard or respected or appreciated. There's a definite message. And I think one of the things he may have wanted to do is create something wherein he could assist in some way, or make it possible that artists receive some kind of assistance in advice or encouragement, support. I'll have to read more about that. I don't know if he did anything like that, to be honest. Oh, we've got Kitty. Four of Pentacles. Now this is holding on. Wanting to hold on. I think part of part of it, while he was here, was he was sick, and he was, I think, holding on as long as he could for his album to be released. That he was trying to see through to that, and he did. But I think physically he held on to his body as long as he could with that Four of Pentacles. But I feel that I'm also shown here the star. And was it Dark Star? What was the my memory is terrible now. His last release before his death, Star, was part of the title of the work. It was Dark Star, and it had some good work. I still have it on my computer. There's some really cool works that he did there. But I feel like he held on because to release that album, Dark Star, that's there. You know, the star is also the card of fame and a high profile. He enduring as an artist definitely is here. How he endured, and I'm getting from him that sometimes he endured by the seat of his pants, literally. You know, Bowie had a lot of issues. He had a pretty bad cocaine habit, and that is what contributed to problems later in life that he had with his heart. He had several heart attacks as a result, not only of the use of cocaine, but smoking, heavy smoker. Very highly creative. I mean, like, no kidding. But when you feel how creative he is through the cards, it's an enhanced feeling of just how saturated he was he was just a receptor of creative. He had great reach as an artist. I mean, the ability to kind of reach out there and draw down some very breakthrough ideas, inspiration, and to bring them out and share them and reflect that feeling, that image, that with all the personalities and the personas that he created to convey a certain string of work, you know, that he just kept changing. But he held on, was able to hold on, because he was highly receptive to, I feel like, the man just had a link to highly, highly advanced creative energy flow, a stream of thought that was pretty amazing. And he was able to hold on and create his own success with the Emperor. You know, he managed to hold on. A lot of people in the music industry that came in when he didn't live as long as him. Or they did not have a success as long as him. He maintained that with the Four of Pentacles and the Star. And was able to live and become a successful older man, a professional. I mean, to really establish a legacy. That shows there. Just so creative again, Seven of Cups. Now this also can deal with the use of the mind-altering substances that kind of open your senses. I think he had pretty open senses anyway, naturally, because his antenna, his creative antenna went into far outer space, so to speak. He just really was somebody with a wide bandwidth for, if you will, stream of conscious creativity. Really incredible. And that only became more refined with age, with that emperor. He really owned and mastered it. And the amazing thing is, he did it with being able to maintain a foot in the world as well. A lot of people can lose themselves with this amount of creativity and kind of go a little bananas. Not to say that he didn't from time to time, because I think he did, but he managed to keep, at the end of the day, miraculously. And I think I get a flash also through his wife, Iman, once he met her. I think he started taking better care of himself. And I think her influence also helped him to be the success into his elder years. Because I'm getting the term of, it's hard to keep both oars in the water, especially when you're reaching into kind of some unusual, out-of-the-box creative ideas, energies. You can get pretty weird, and you can become really ungrounded. But I feel like he was able to maintain, perhaps through the Capricorn earthiness that he has, also, an anchor, so that he wouldn't float away, that he wouldn't go into Major Tom mode and float off into space. And he gets the Starman, the Magician. He's just the master. He was a master artist. And a very unique soul. I feel like I'm getting flashes. He's a joy to read. I'm getting flashes that he'd been through many lifetimes as a form of a creative person, as an artist. Not necessarily anybody well known, but he built up that creative muscle also spiritually in his being. And it's why he had this, David has an amazing antenna, to pick up creative, again, inspiration. It just flowed through him. He was really a conduit. And as a conduit, whether you're a reader or an artist, when you're reaching out and getting that energy from kind of the ethers, if you will, you are a conduit. And a lot moves through you. And I just see, again, he was remarkable in his ability to handle this immensely creative energy and channel it, in a way that made sense, that people could make sense of and be amazed by, and that was totally out there, but that was still accessible. You know, it wasn't so far out that people couldn't take the ride, so to speak. People were able to relate to it yet. And that's an amazing skill. That is an amazing skill to have. It really conveys him. I feel like many, many lifetimes as an artisan, as a creative person, I'm getting the word philosopher comes in. He's an old soul, as cliche as that sounds. And the Hierophant, now this deals with more of your orthodox tradition and rules and regulations and taboos and conformity. And we get the world. And I think he was able to broaden the horizons of the world through his creative work, to consider that things are not so fixed, to open up to a more creative flow and understanding creatively in the world and of life, and just a totally different way to think beyond this conformist, closed set of thought, of mindset. The world. They kind of created a new base to act from, that people could utilize in their life. What he brought forward, the freeing up to not just be seen as a boy or a girl or as this or that, but the flexibility and the chameleon, this ability to change and shift and change form, but maintaining a line of integrity, that you're not like totally at a loss of, well, who is this? There's still, it is incredible talent that he did to flow with these different personas, as I'm saying, that he put throughout the years. And still through it all, there's a line that runs through it that was always able to maintain his identity, though it was changing and it was buried, changing. I really get that. And he challenged the traditional world's values and its traditional definition of who you could be. He broadened that. He brought more to the world than we even realize. Because it opened up the horizon. It broadened, and it went worldwide. It went around the world. Now we have the internet, and people can go around, become famous very easily. But in David's time, initially in the 60s and 70s and 80s, before the internet, it was a lot different game. And David was going up against an established way of mentality, a way of thinking, and conformity. Especially those years were still very heavily on being a conformist, conforming. And so as an artist, him challenging and broadening the world's ability past these mindsets of the era is huge, huge work that he did. Justice, and the Princess of Wands. I feel like we see a flow that switches up. And a decision, I feel like creatively, he was just amazing in his ability to express himself through masculine and feminine and blended, gender fluid essence. This balance also shows interesting. On the Justice card, in one hand, forgive me there, in one hand, well, you can't really see because the damn camera won't autofocus, but is a brain, and the other is a heart. And we see that these are being weighed to make sure that they're in balance. That logic and the heart, okay, were utilized and expressed. He wanted to make sure there was a balanced expression. Note to self, do not use this camera again for autofocus close-ups. This especially is more of the feminine energy too. A little bit more of that blended, but bringing balance. Also with a message to society about justice and about helping people to accept people that are a bit different, have a different point of view, being able to perceive a flow that is different and harmonious, that can exist, that is not orthodox. Again, he really pushed the envelopes of society and how it sees itself and identifies, true opening up. I think he also went through feelings of, I think people sometimes taking advantage of their connection to him. He was very watchful for that. I think he became very good at being able to detect pretty quickly even people that were quite clever in their attempt to take something of his or to, I feel like, not respect his work, kind of poach his work, actually. I'm going to have to do some more reading on his past. I've done quite a bit, I mean, like book-wise. I'm going to round this out. The alien. He had a theme of feeling like he didn't fit into this world. You know, a lot to do with space, the alien. There's a song, you know, that he put out, We're Loving the Alien. Scott Weiland did a version while he was with, inspired by Bowie's song. He was very Bowie inspired, and it's really good. It's called "Loving the Alien," and it's ode to David Bowie's initial song. It's not exactly a cover, but it's encapsulated beautifully the David Bowie kind of energy. So I recommend that if you're interested in David Bowie, check out some of Scott Weiland's work, because he was a huge Bowie fan. Now, you may not think that, you may not appreciate it, but you have to see it in the view of respect for Bowie that he had. And he was one of the artists that Bowie has inspired, one of the many. But David Bowie, I feel like, didn't feel, yes, he had to become comfortable in his own skin, because he didn't feel like he fitted in. And he had to convey that inner strength and confidence and just be who he was. Because he didn't really feel like he didn't feel entirely at home. This world, he was such a creative man, I think, in an advanced way. Truly, he's put a lot of lifetimes into creative thought and living, and I feel that with Strength and the Alien, he had to really get number one, like a thick skin to criticism and people not understanding him, and be able to project his own creative inspiration and ideas with confidence, and just be willing to be the alien, to not fit in, and to own it, and not let people make that a bad thing for him. But he was able to make not fitting in and being different interesting and deep, and that the boring people are those that are safe in their little conformity. They're too scared to explore who they are and the vastness of who they are. Bowie loved doing that. He loved exploring who he was and coming into his own power. And in time and with age, he did. He was able also to get a handle on parts of him that were needing to take direction and calm down for his health. Aman helped him to eat better, and I think cut back with the smoking and doing things like that. She was really a good influence. But he also just developed an inner strength as an artist in fearlessly going out there and being and bringing who he was in such an amazing bandwidth of legacy, of change and of difference. And he's still inspiring people today and working with artists. This is the clown, the fool. And he will encourage people to explore the vastness of their own creativity and capacity into the future. He is an eternal being. And I hope you enjoyed this long reading on David Bowie, but my God, he had such a long legacy. I feel like I didn't half but tap the surface. If you enjoyed this reading, please give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't enjoy it, you can give it a thumbs down. And I hope you are having a good day and that you enjoyed this reading on David Bowie. He's truly an advanced soul that is actually more in his best form yet, because he's ever changing and inspiring, and he's still doing it from the other side, and he's timeless. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Oh, hear this, Mr. Jones. I wrote a song for you. There was a message from ground control. Our Major Tom is lost, and it's true. You're not coming back, are you?